Hello, everyone. Welcome back. How are you all doing? How is the boot going so far for you? So. Okay. Thank you, Zeli. I'm fine as well. And Jonathan says, not bad. Good. So, why you said so, Kasım, is it a little bit hard or? Yeah, actually, it is going to be new information to absorb with each session. And right now you have only the Apex and the admin lectures right now, but there will be also the project lessons. But once you followed live, once you're following it live, and if you can find the time to repeat what you have learned, that won't be a big issue. Yeah, we're in the beginning, and these are the most important parts because currently we are learning the foundations of Salesforce, even in Apex or in admin lessons. Okay, Mariana, I saw your message on Zoom, but we're actually using the Slack for this purpose. Generally, I'm not checking the Zoom, so please try to use the Slack. Okay, people, let's start. With the daytime group, we have already started this session and completed it. And today, our agenda will be like, we'll be having a quick recap on what we have learned in the first session, and later on, we will be creating a new object. Also, we will be creating fields. We will be seeing what a tab is. I'll also be explaining you the standard objects in the session. So this session will be about learning the Salesforce basics. We will be getting accustomed to the homepage and some functionalities. So let's start. So in our first session, we have talked about some topics. So we learned what a CRM is. We also learned the basic fundamentals of cloud computing. And then we learned about the details of software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. We have gone through the basic functionalities of marketing, sales, and service. And we learned about the basics about the Salesforce and its products. And later on, we learned about the additions, and we had an overview of what a Salesforce admin and what a Salesforce developer does. And we talked about the steps of career in Salesforce. Also, we briefly entered into Trailhead and talked about its purpose. So, do you have any chance to check the Trailhead? Or did you try any challenges there? Did you get any badges? Okay, very good. So previous lesson was about learning the basics. Okay, so we have two types of objects in Salesforce. And the first one being the standard objects. And these objects are directly provided by the Salesforce. So these objects are like account, contact, lead, and opportunity. These are called standard objects. And the objects that we will be creating will be called the custom objects. So let's open our Salesforce Developer Edition. Okay, ignore, got 500 points. Good. Those are good starts. And by the end of the Sunday session, I will start giving you homework from Trailhead. On Sunday session, we will be completing the entrance, like we will be creating an app. So today we will be creating the object. We will be putting it in a tab. We will be creating the fields of an object. And later on Sunday, we will be creating an app, and we will move every object that we have created, the custom objects, to there. So we are all in our homepage, right? So let's at least see what we have here. In the homepage, we have our object manager. And the object manager is the place that we can create a new object, or let's say modifying an existing object as well. And then we have the home tab. Currently, we are in the home tab. On the right, you have your profile, and we have a gear here, which we will be using frequently. Let's say we are in a different page and we want to come to setup page. We will be choosing this first option, setup. Okay, everyone, let's go and launch an application together. So let's go to the app launcher on the left. This structure is called the waffle structure. Just click on the app launcher. And then if you can see sales there, you can click on sales. Otherwise, just click on view all, and we will be seeing the sales application. Click on the sales. Okay, Maria, you will be clicking on the setup. It doesn't matter which page you're in right now, but if you're in Salesforce, you will be seeing that gear icon and you will be clicking on setup. This is the home page. Later on, there is the app launcher here. Click on the app launcher, either write sales from here, or you can click on the view all. They will both work. And click on the sales application. Yes, Candan, it will happen. Because it's taking some values from, and I think yours is not used right now. You don't have any data. You don't have anything changed. So that could be the reason. Okay. So when we're in an application, our application name will be shown here. So this is our application name, sales. And in our application, we have some tabs here called opportunities, leads, tasks, students. Actually, students is a custom object. I'll be deleting that one because we prepared it in the previous session. We have also files, accounts, contacts, campaigns, dashboards, reports, chatter, groups, calendar. These are all the objects of this application. And they are stored here in a tab. That's why we are seeing them. Okay, so we have a tab for opportunity. We have a tab for leads. We have a tab for tasks. So currently we are on the home page of sales. So let's go to opportunities object. So when you click on your opportunities, your screen will be empty. That's totally normal. So you will be in that recently viewed tab. As long as you haven't viewed anything here, this part will be empty. So we can change this view by clicking here and choosing all opportunities. And if you click on this pin, the next time when you navigate to this object, your view will be like this, all opportunities. Now we are in opportunities object, and the below listed are called something. Can anybody recall what are those? We have something inside the object listed here. This each row. These are the records of this object. And also we have some columns here, as you can see. Opportunity name, account name, amount, close date. So what were those? Actually, we're already in an object. We are in the opportunities object. Fields, correct. These are fields. We are in sales application, in opportunities object. In opportunities object, we have fields, opportunity name, account name, amount, close date, and also we have records here previously entered. So Canan, you should be clicking on opportunities. And then you should be choosing from here all opportunities. I think it's okay. Any questions up to this point? We're just having a look at an application, an object. Candan, it's as it's named, it's the close date. This is an opportunity and it has a close date. We will be coming to those later on. We are learning what this close date means. This is a field right now. This is what we're supposed to know at the moment. It also has a stage, right? So this is only just a basic overview. Let's talk about the standard objects provided by Salesforce. And then we will start building a new object. Okay. Anyone who can name the standard objects? We have 4 standard objects. And I give you a hint in the introduction. The initials are like COLA, C-O-L-A. We have lead, opportunity, contact, and account. These 4 are the standard objects. So let's start by what are they doing in simple terms. A lead, my friends, is an unqualified prospect, a new individual or company in your system that may or may not be qualified, but one you haven't pursued in the past. So also it says, it's in simple terms, it's a potential customer. So let's say we have potential customers, but we haven't contacted them in the past. and we are storing this type of potential customers in our system as lead. So from lead, you will be understanding this. And at this point, let's make a definition for the customer. It can also be confusing at sometimes. A customer is a person who buys products or services. But a client is a certain type of customer again, but this time he purchases professional services from a business. So let's give example for that one. Let's say I walk into a retail store and I'm buying something. So what does this makes me? This makes me a customer. But let's say I've been working with a design studio, or let's say I am working with an insurance agency, or let's say a law firm. I am a client because I am getting some professional services from there. And also in terms of the relationship, the length of relationship, the customer can be a person who goes into some place and buying something for the first time. Let's say I walked into a new store, which I haven't been before, so I'm buying anything from there. That will easily make me a customer. But on the client case, it's somehow a little different. For clients, the relationship is a little bit longer. Like maybe I'm working with the same design studio for 5 years or 10 years. So that's another criteria. But as long as if you mix them, or if you use them in the wrong direction, it's not important. This is only giving you an idea. So in simple terms, a lead is a potential customer or client, we can say. And let's come to opportunity. An opportunity is a deal in progress. An opportunity refers to the high probability of generating sales revenue. This is also known as deals and has a timeline or set of stages associated. So what do we mean by the stages? Let's go to Salesforce. Right now we are already in opportunities object. So let's open one record here. So we open the Edge Emergency Generators record. As you can see here, there are some stages of this opportunity. So it passes through all the stages. And finally, this opportunity has been closed by one. That means that's the good case. So this opportunity is one customer. A customer is created from here. So in the stage name, these are the stages that it passes: prospecting, qualification, need analysis, value proposition, decision makers, perception analysis, proposal, negotiation, and it ended well. This opportunity has been won. But the other way around could happen. There is also another stage here, closed, lost. So from the stages, this is mentioned there. And now let's come to contact. A contact is an individual. It means it's a person whose contact information is in your database and has been qualified. And an account is a business entity or organization you intend to sell, to whose information is in your database. You may have multiple contacts stored who are all part of the same account. This is important. So let's give an example. So we have a company as an account. We are working with a company and they are the account. But in that very company, we have like their general manager, or let's say their sales manager, their procurement manager, their marketing manager are stored in contact. So for one account, we can have 4 contacts. So let's see how they function. So when the lead is qualified, it should be converted, which means the potential customer. If it is qualified, it should be converted. So when a lead in Salesforce is converted, it simultaneously becomes a contact and an account. And account is the actual company. The contact, as we mentioned earlier, is the person within the company, the same person from the lead stage. So there can be, again, we are mentioning it, there can be multiple contacts for the same account. So when we convert a lead to a contact and an opportunity, we also have the option of converting it to an opportunity. An opportunity is a future event associated with uncovered revenue potential that is processed through opportunity stages, which we saw these stages, right? And when the opportunity is processed through stages and converted, a contract is created. This is a different object. It's not contact, it's a contract. So up to this point, we had learned the lead, opportunity, contact, and account. So in these 4 objects, we have stages for lead, we have stages for opportunity. I show you the opportunity stages. Let's go on, see the stages of lead as well. Lead also have like 5 stages. 4 stages. This is the first stage, which is called the open not contacted, which means the lead is, we have a lead, but no contact has occurred. And this says the lead is contacted and there's still a work being going on there. And there are 2 outcomes. Either we won this lead, this potential customer, this will be the converted scenario. But if we cannot, this deal is closed, we couldn't win the potential customer. So from the converted, we mean that one. Everything starts with the lead. Okay. I know it sounds complicated up to this point, but this is the information, the essential information on Sales Cloud functionality. So we will be learning this deep in the future while we're doing our exercises, while we're learning new stuff. This is only for you to have some basic and brief information. So if you have any question up to this point, I can answer. Can we say client is long-term customer? Yeah, we might say that, Nihan. It's a long-term customer, and also he is not getting goods. He's maybe receiving a professional service. So does lead include previous customers or just potential customers? Candan, good question. No, we mentioned it there. Lead should be a person who hasn't been contacted previously. So this is a new person. This is a new individual for us. Because let's say if it was a potential customer in the past and we lost them, we should have him here in our system as closed not converted. Can lead turn back to be lead after become a contact? What do you mean, Nihan? I couldn't understand the question. Can lead turn back to be lead after become a contact? So I think you're basically asking, let's say we have a lead, we converted it, and it became a contact. But later on, can he be lead again? No. Actually, if he became a contact, so that means we know this person, we have contacted this person, or let's say the entity, like the business, we have contacted this company or person. So they never return back to be as leads. Lead are the people or the entities we haven't contacted in the past. Okay, let me check the other channel. No questions from there. Okay, everyone. So instead of going deep for the information, let's get our hands on the Salesforce and let's start by creating a new object. And before that, let's open our structure. We talked about this structure, but I'll be explaining this again. So this is the basic structure of application, tab, object, and fields. Now, we will be starting first to see how to create an object. And as I explained, tabs are for visual aspects. So they are the navigational items. In here, as you can see, we have opportunities object, but it is put in a tab. It's placed in a tab. So that's why we are seeing opportunities here. Okay, so in the example, we will be discussing this again. Okay, you have an object, but some objects cannot be visible or cannot be navigated unless they're in a tab. So we have a container here keeping our objects. And later on, once an object is created, it is put in a tab, then it can be added to an application. Today, we won't be creating the application. We will be creating an object. We will be putting it in a tab. And we will be creating its fields. So let's start by creating a new object. We will be going to setup page. So it will be better if you can do it with me. Just by watching, you cannot get on too much information. You will not have that information by doing it. The only way to learn is to practice live and to do it together. Not yet, Candan. I haven't shared this one. After this session, I can share this one. But we haven't completed this yet. So I think I will be sharing this after the Sunday session, because the creation of apps also here, we will be finishing this one on Sunday. Okay, everybody's on the page, right? Okay, to create an object, we are using the object manager. Let's click on object manager. So in Salesforce, when you think that you're lost in menus, you can check always here. You will be shown that we are in setup and we are in object manager. And a brief description here is also given. Like it says, we have 51 items here. So these are all objects and these are all standard objects. Some of them are, we are seeing those objects like the account object. We can see that in the sales application. Some objects run behind to prepare additional information or to act as a bridge between two objects. So we have a lot of objects here, and they are all standard objects. Let me delete this one. This is from the previous session. Okay, let's start creating the object. To create an object, we have two options to go for. We can either go to this create button on the right, or if you click here, you'll be seeing that new object. So these two basically do the same thing. So it is not important which one you choose. But let's create it from here. So click on here. Yes, Ikra, we should be doing everything together. The live sessions is all about doing everything together. Because while you're watching, I've been a boot camper like yourselves. So when you try to watch, let's say the instructor, he is doing something there and everything is going fine. He is creating the object, he is writing the code, it's working, or let's say he's doing some arrangements and they are all working. You think that you learned it, but however, once you're doing that one, maybe you will be missing some points, you will be missing some important parts. That's when you realize it while doing it live. And that is the best way of learning, with hands-on experience. With watching, I can tell you, it's so hard for you to do it your own self. So Let's do this together. We'll be creating the new object. And for this purpose, we are choosing the custom object here. Okay, I'll wait for everybody to be on this page. If you cannot find this page, just let me know. We will be coming here again. Okay, Nihan's here. 2 more people. Kasım, Ayşe, Candan, Merve, good. So Ikra, are you also on this page? You're still trying to find the website. Okay, have you ever logged into Developer Edition before? Oh, okay. Do you have an account? Okay, for Ikra, here's a quick way how you can do it. Just open your Google and type in Salesforce login. You will be seeing something like this, login Salesforce. Let me share you the link. No, just use the link on the Slack. This is where you're gonna sign up, okay? But it will be taking a little more time of yours, so you can do it when we gave a break, okay? So you can watch up to this point. But once we gave a break, just go into that link. You will be filling in those fields and you will be logging into the system. And after the break, just tell me that you're in the system so I can guide you through the pages, okay? Don't do it right now because if you're trying to do it right now, you'll be missing. It's not important. It's not important, the company name. So don't try to create an account right now. As I said, you can watch right now, but in the break, the first thing you'll be doing is creating the account because you'll be using that for both APAC sessions and for admin sessions. Okay. How's the screen, Zelia? Better? Okay. Now we are creating a new object and the page we're on is called new custom object. Okay. So before starting, we have some red lines here, as you can see. These red lines means these fields are required. We cannot pass them without giving any information, without typing in something. So the first one being the label. This is, let's say, the name of our object. So as in the previous session, let's create an object called student. So everybody write student there. And when you finish writing, just click on the object name. And you will be noticing that instantly your label is copied to here. Just because our label is fetched to object name. This is the name we're giving to that object, and this is the name which will be used in the database. They are actually the same, right? The student, student. But let's try it with two words, like student lectures. Let's say if this was our object name, I'll be clicking on object name, but this time I leave a space here. This space is filled with an underscore. So this is an API name. API name is application program interface. So this is how it's going to be named in our database. So the Salesforce will always be using this name in behind. Whatever we provide here is copied here, but in database names, you cannot use spaces. That's why it's changed to with an underscore version. So let's go back and leave it as student. Now, it's asking us the plural name. So we are providing the plural name. And there's a checkbox here. This checkbox means that as you might know, let's say if this was starting with a consonant, not with a vowel, we don't say an hour, right? We say an hour. So if it is starting with a consonant, but it's regarded as a vowel sound, we click on this one. Can we use letter and number with together like student one? Yes, we can use it, Nihan, but generally in object names, we don't prefer to use numbers because objects represents general scope. So in general scope, we don't use numbers, but let's say you need to be using a number. Yeah, you can write a number here. So let's again change it to student and students. And we have a description. In that description part, you can give information about the object. If you would like, you can do it in this part. So this object can have other relationships with other objects. And you might want to mention it here, or you might want to mention the basic functionality or basic purpose of this object in description. But in our case, we don't have to. So I'm just leaving this empty. Let's say this is used to create and follow up students. Actually, if it is starting with the vowel sound, Kasim, because Salesforce already knows that the consonants and vowels, but it cannot know. Okay. So for the context sensitive help setting, we can leave it as it is. And we have another important part, which is enter record name, label, and format. As you might remember in our introduction, we said, let's be the custom object or be the standard object. Every object has some standard fields. The standard fields is created by Salesforce. So one of those are the record name. So for the record name, let's also see it in our, I think it was in our previous slide. We have some standard fields. So this is where we are right now. It says this, as you can see, system pre-built fields. So one of them is name. All the records need names, so you can distinguish them between them. You can use text names or auto-numbered names. Let's return back here. So that means I have another option. Yes, I have another option, either by text or auto-number. That automatically increment every time you create a record. So if I leave it as a text here, each time when I'm creating a record, I should be giving it a name, but this name has to be unique. But if I choose to make it auto number, as you see here in text, there is no options, but when I set auto number, these two fields appear. So what will happen if I choose the auto number? I should be giving it a format, and Salesforce guides you here. You can use a structure like that, just copy and paste it. So this was our student object. So let's say, let's use ST for students' first two letters. And then it should follow a digit. So we should also be providing a starting number, and the starting number will be 1. So each time I create a new record, it will be giving it an auto number so that it will be unique. So for the first record, it will be ST0001. And for the second, 0002. We will be creating some records, so you will be seeing this. But remember, this is the place called record name. This is our record's name. So as I said, if you choose text, you should be providing for each record. But if you choose auto number, you don't have to choose anything. Each time a new record is created, it will be increasing that. We gave that name, John. We decided to give it ST. We could also be calling like S or SU, or we can just call it A like this. It depends to make it a little bit related with the object name. I chose to give it a name like this as ST. Okay, we already set that. Now we have some optional features here. We don't have to fill in these. We don't have to check these, but let's at least give you the idea what they are doing. This allow reports is very clear, means that your object can be used in reports once you click that one. Otherwise, you won't be using any data generated in this object in any report. So allow activities. What does this mean? Let's see an record. That's like this, these records. As you can see, these are the fields of this lead record. So we have a name, Ms. Katie Snyder, the company, the title. She is the regional general manager. Anyhow, there is also another tab called activity here. I know, no, these are generic. Kasım, you cannot use real data. These are generated. So we all can see them, right? There's a tab called activity. In activity, we can create a new task for this record. Let's say for this record, I want somebody in my company to contact Miss Katie. So I can create a new task here. I can choose who to assign this. So don't go in detail here. As you can see, the tab activity here is shown because it was chosen when it was first created. So if we choose that, if we click on this, we are letting our object to have that tab as well. Okay. So for track field history is for sensitive information or sensitive objects you have in your organization. So for those, you can enable this feature. So each and every change made in that object is tracked. Let's say Kasım is making a change in their student object. It is tracked. It's logged somewhere. So for each field, making this is taking a resource for the software, but you shouldn't be choosing this for each and every object you're creating. This is for your critical objects, like where you keep a sensitive data, very important data. You should be having this track field histories so that you will be knowing that what happened to that record or which user used this field. You should be seeing that by this feature. So this is for that purpose. And allow in chatter groups. Again, let me show it in here. As you can see, there's another tab here called chatter. Chatter is a communication tool in Salesforce. So this lets users exchange information or communicate on a certain record. They can post something about the record. They can create a poll. They can ask a question. So as the name suggests, this is used for the communication in between the users. So once you click that one, you are letting your object have this tab. So for the enable resizing, it's not important. You should be keeping that empty. This part also leave it as it is, the object classification. This is a complex and detailed process to deal right now. But here is important. There are two status for deployment. It says, the first one says in development, and the second one says deployed. Let's say I choose in development. In that case, my object couldn't be seen by any user because it is still under development. But if we keep it this way, once we created our object, it could be seen, it could be functional. So this is about the access. In development, it won't be shown, it won't be present, it won't be presented in the system. But in deployed, it means now you can use this object. So for our case, we should be seeing our object. Allow search also is very clear. You can make searches in Salesforce, and if you choose your object's data is not shown these searches, you should be leaving this empty. But if you want to let your object to be found in search, just click on this one. Okay, the deployment status. The deployment status means that if you leave it in development, only you can see that object. It won't be functional. So that means it won't be in the live environment. It will stay there like as a template there. So once you think that it's time to deploy it, it means it will be in the live environment. It will be usable for everybody. Not everybody, the ones you decided once you gave permission. So this you can think of it as under construction, and this one, okay, you can move into that. Clear, Kasim? Okay. And we have two more to go. One of them is add notes and attachments related list to the default page layout. Okay, in order to show this one, also we'll be needing to see a record. Okay, this one has. So as you can see here, we have a notes and attachments part here. So for some records or for some objects, you will be needing to add something like that. So let's say for this records, the users can attach some documents. This is the purpose. They can leave notes, but this is only available if you check this box. So for this object, you can either check it or not. It's not important. And the most important part in this object creation, the last one, let's read it together. Launch new custom tab wizard after saving this custom object. Okay, let's go back to our slide and find the structure again. I'm in the wrong one. Okay, here is our structure. So I told you that after creating an object, we should be putting it into a tab. So by clicking, by checking here, we are telling Salesforce, okay, after this page, just take me to creating a new tab. So if we leave it like this, and let's say we created our object, okay, we can still do it by going to the tabs settings, but no need for that one. The next step should be putting this into a tab. So we are clicking on here, and you will be seeing that after saving this object, we will be directed to a custom tab wizard. I hope this part is clear. We are creating an object, but if we do not click on that one, if we don't click on that one, our object will be created. Okay, but it won't be in a tab. But currently we are saying, okay, I'm done with creating the object. Please take me to creating a tab for that one. So are you sure you cannot scroll down any further? Okay, you can click on save as well. For your case, we will be doing the tabs manually. So you won't be going to that one. But I'm also wondering why it's not showing there. So yours is also developer edition, right? Okay. Okay, everyone, let's click on save. So if you choose this one, we will be going there, Candan. Let's click on save by choosing this option, launch new custom tab wizard. As you can see, I'm currently directed to the tabs. New custom object tab. So again, I will be telling it from the structure. If you have an object, you should put it in a tab in order to see it, in order to navigate it. Without a tab, you cannot put it in an application. So when we're creating the objects, we clicked on that option and we said to Salesforce, take us directly to creating a tab. Okay, now we are in the tab section and we have our object here. As you can see, this is the only object that we can see here. Why do you think we are only seeing the object that we have created? So if you can show, if you can share your screens, I think most probably your object names or labels are not correct. So we are only seeing our object here because it's the only one standing in the system without a tab. So let's put it in a tab. Gülin, did you attend the previous session? Because I think you have the students already in the system. So you're trying to create a new object with the same name. So it's not possible. You should be changing your object name. Like, don't make it student. You can give it a different name for that one. Let's give it a name, student test or something. But write it without a space. Okay. So Candan, how did you lost your page? Okay, no problem. For the ones who are already in this page, let's finish this one. And for the ones who couldn't make it to the tabs, we will be adding their object to the tabs with the other method. No, it will not be accepting. Salesforce is case insensitive, so you shouldn't be using student anymore. Okay. So for the ones in the tab setup, you will be the only object will be your object student. Let's click on this one, and to your liking, just select one icon to represent this. So it's student. You can give something reminding of education or anything. Let's say we are learning a software. I'm choosing computer. You can choose anything else. It's not important. It's only the tab style. And click on next one once you have finished this. In the second step, it says apply one tab visibility to all profiles. So just leave this as it is and click on next. Also for step 3, you don't have to deselect or select anything. Just leave it as it is and click on save. So once you have done that, you already created your first object. Okay, for the ones who couldn't make it to tab page. I think Candan, you couldn't make it to tab page, right? Anyone else? So if you're seeing like this on your screen, setup, object manager and student, you created your object. Okay, did you save your objects? Okay, Ayşe did say it. Okay, let's check it from the object manager for all of you. Everybody, let's go to object manager here. Let's go to object manager. And in the quick find, just write down student. As you can see, I find the object here. Okay, if you can see the student here, that means you created your object. With or without a tab, it's not important, but we should be adding it to a tab unless you do it. Okay. Who cannot see the student in their object manager? Canan, can you see the student object here? Good. Okay, let's create it again for the ones who couldn't make it. And also, if you have an error or anything else, just share the screen or write down what the error is, because unless you do so, I couldn't know what went wrong. So let's create it again. For the ones who can see the student, just don't do anything. For the ones who cannot see it, go to your object manager, click on the new object. In here, you will be writing student. Then you will be clicking on the object name, and you should be providing the plural, students. In here, change it to auto number and call it something like that, ST000, and the starting number should be 1. Okay. So for the optional features, not important, just leave all of them. But in my case, also, I couldn't be able to create a new student, so let me do it. Student test. For yours, just keep it as student, because I already have just click on the last option, launch new custom tab wizard, and click on save. This is not, yeah, you can give the same format, but why did you create a tester object? You're creating objects and you're making practice. Good. You can use the same format, doesn't matter. So for the ones who couldn't make it, can you make it to the screen right now? Canan and who else, I guess? Candan. Also Zeliha. Okay, once you're in this screen, just click on the tab style and choose anything from here. And okay, so choose a tab style from here. you should be seeing student here, not student test. This is the one I created because I already have an object with the name student. And click on next. In the second step, leave everything as it is. Click on next. For the last one as well, just click on save. So you should be having your student objects as well. So again, let's go to Object Manager. How do we go there? Click on Setup. And click on the Object Manager. And let's write student here. So is it okay for everybody right now? Do you have student there? Nice, nice, good. Zelia, can you see the student here in your object manager? Canan? Oh, good. So nobody's having problem in seeing that their objects, right? Okay, folks, congratulations. You created your first object in Salesforce. So let's give a 10 minutes break. It's more than 82 minutes. Or let's make it 15. After the break, we will be creating the fields. So break, guys, we're having a break. Hello, everyone. Are we all back? So, Ikra, just follow me. Let's create the object for you as well. So, once you're in your developer edition homepage, you're following, right, Ikra? If you haven't finished creating your account, you can also watch the video later on, and you can create the object. But if you're in this page, I will be guiding you very fastly to create the object. Okay. Now, in this page, click on the object manager. So you can write OK for each step. So I'll be knowing that you're in that page. Okay. Click on the Create button and choose Custom Object. Okay. In here, for the label, write student. I'll be writing student 2. You just write student because I already have the object. And click on the object name here, the third one. Don't forget, you will be writing only student, not student 2. So if it is okay for this label and object name, you will be coming here and choosing auto number. Okay, after that, just copy here this example and paste it here. And change the A with ST. And for the starting number, enter 1. Okay. Good. Now, go down to the bottom of the page and click on the Launch New Custom Tab Wizard after saving this custom object option. Good. Click on Save. So once you set Save, yes, just write students there. And you can click on Save. And you should be on this page. Okay, in here, just click on this item and choose a tab style. It's not important. Anything, you can choose anything here. And then click on next. Then you will be in this page, step 2. Leave everything as it is. Just go down to the bottom of the page and click on next. And in step 3, also, you don't have to do anything. Just go to the bottom of the page again and click on save. So once you have done all of these, you should be in this page. Good. So we all have our objects. So let's find our object. How can we do that? Let's click on the app launcher again. As you will all remember, we added to all the apps. We didn't choose a specific application. We choose to add our object to all apps. So click on sales. So I'll be doing like that because sometimes there's my view on the right, so you can see. Now we're in sales application. Our object is not here, but there is one tab here saying more. Click on more and you should be seeing the students. So you all can see the students there, right? Okay, good. So what we gonna do is, okay, just click on that object we created and drag it in somewhere, or you can put it in after home, leave it there. So your object will be here. So you will be finding it, you will be dragging it and leaving it just after the home tab. And if you drag it here, just click on your object. So you should be seeing this page. So is everybody inside their object? Good. So we haven't created any fields yet for our object, but let's see if we could create a record. So I'm clicking on new, but there are nothing to be filled here. There is no field here so that I can put in some data. Yes, it should be on the recently viewed, no problem. So just follow my screen. You don't have to do this. We don't have any fields, but as I said, we have some standard fields already created by the Salesforce. So let's say I want to make a record without entering any data and choosing save. as you can see, it said student ST001 was created. So this is a record. And we have 4 fields here, right? But these are not created by us. These are all created by the Salesforce itself. So we are calling these fields standard fields. So as you can remember, we defined this one, right? The auto number, ST001. And it's saying that this record is created by this user. And the owner of the record is also this user. And it is also last modified by this user. So even if we don't have any fields, we can create a record because there are those standard fields. Let me try and create a new one here. I'll be creating a new student record. Again, I'll be clicking on save. As you can see, this time the auto number increased and the second record is created here. So if I go to all, right now, I have 2 records here with our auto number given. But as I said, these are all standard fields. So let's create our own fields, right? If this is our object, now we should be creating our own fields. So in order to create fields, we will be using the object manager again. Why? Because the fields are inside the object. So this is the place where we can define them. So let's go to Object Manager. You know how to go to Object Manager, click Setup. And click on the Object Manager here. Later on, you can either navigate down or you can write it here. Just write student. Let me delete this one. Okay. Oh. Let's go to our object and click on. It's not important, John. Currently, there is no records there. So we will be going back there. Right now, we'll be creating the fields and we will be creating new records. So in that case, I'll be showing you where that all is. Ikra, you should be clicking on the gear icon here. And then you should be choosing setup. Okay, after that, you should be going to this page. Okay, and on this page, click on the Object Manager. And once you're in Object Manager, it will be looking like this. But to find our object, we are writing its name here to quick find. So everybody just click on the student. So everybody should be on this page. It says Setup, Object Manager, and Student. Are we all in this page? Good. Very good indeed. Okay. Now, in order to create fields, as you can see, there are a lot of tabs here. These tabs are all about the settings of our object. We will be seeing them one by one. But to create a field, we should go to this one, Fields and Relationships. So everybody, if you can click on this one, and we should be on this page. And as you can see, there are already 4 fields here. So can you remember those fields? Let's go and see. This is our first record, right? I created without entering anything, any data. This was my first record. So it has student name. Let's check here. Student name. It has created by, then owner, and finally last modified by. So these are all created by the Salesforce. Again, what was those fields called? What do we call these fields that are created by Salesforce? No, the fields, actually, Nihan. The fields created by Salesforce. We call them something else. Custom fields, or you can also use this term, system fields. Custom fields, exactly. Or you can call them system fields. They are the created date, last modified by, last modified date. Okay. So let's create our own field here. So this is a student object. Let's came back here. There is one button here saying new. This button is used to create a new field. Let's click on new, everyone. I'll be zooming in. After that, we are in this page. And it's asking us, what type of fields do you want to create? So let's create a field for the first name, for the student, right? So for the first name, what type of data we should choose here? I'll be showing you the options. Checkbox, currency, date, date time, email, geolocation, number, percent, phone, pick list, multi-select, text area long. Exactly, it should be a text. So let's click on the text and say next. So in here, we said we want to create a field in the type of text. So again, for the field label, our first field should be called first name. So, but once you have written the first name, just click on the field name here. So it will be fetching, it will be taking this and putting it here, but with an underscore. As I said, this is for the database. So for us, the field name is first name, but for the database, it is like this. So once you have written anything here and clicking here, it will be fetching the same. Again, it's asking us something else right now. It's saying length. So for this text, we can give a limit, right? So for the first name, let's give a 50 characters length. So it cannot exceed 50 characters. Just write 50 there. Okay, and then we have some checkboxes here. The first one saying always require a value in this field in order to save a record. This means if we click on this checkbox, the user should provide a first name. Otherwise, it won't save the data. So this is a required field. Okay, to make it a required field, we are clicking on this checkbox. So since this is a first name, we should have a first name. Without the first name, the rest of the data is meaningless, right? So let's make it required. And for the other options, we don't have to change anything here. We should be clicking on next. So we should all be here in step 3. We don't have to change anything. This is to set the visibility of the profile field. So we want our field to be visible in each and every profile, for each and every profile. So each and every profile can access our field. So basically we're doing nothing here. We will be clicking on next. And later we should be on step 4. In step 4, we don't have to do anything at the moment. Just click on save. Okay, so here I can see our currently created field. Okay, Kasım asked a good question. There are 2 options in the pages. One's being save and the other being save and new. Let's say you want to create 10 fields and you already know what to do or which type of field they should be. So you have a list, and let's say you created the student name, and afterwards I clicked on save. If I'm going to be creating a new one, I will be continuing to create new ones. I should be saying save and new. In this case, it will be saving that field and it will be opening a new field creation screen. Clear, Kasım? Okay. So we created, excuse me, this was not the one. We created this one, first name. So can everybody see the first name in the fields? Good. So one more thing to explain here. Very good, very good. For all the field names, let's have a look at, we will be seeing something. So for this one, it says created by ID. This says last modified by ID, owner ID, name. But for the one that we created now, it's saying first name with double underscore and a C. This represents, someone is trying to answer. Yes, Gülin, yes, İlknur. Not that one, Kasım. It's for the custom. So this C represents that this is a custom field. So from now on, as a Salesforce administrator, you can go and check the fields of an object, and you can easily say these are customly created fields. Okay, as we have learned, these are prepared by the system, so they don't have a C at the end, but this is created by us. So it's a custom field. That's why Salesforce keeps the API name is correct as well, Nihan. But Salesforce say these records and for the field name, it uses the _C to distinguish them from the system prepared fields. Okay. What else do we have in this screen? In the screen, we can see all the data types of the fields. So for the created by, it says lookup user. So created by means it's about someone, not something. So created by should be a user, right? So we have a user object and it's saying that I'm going to that user object and picking that one. As you can see here, created by, in created by, my name is written, right? So it's going to the users and getting my name from there. Okay, also we have our fields. So for our field, we chose text, right? And we gave a limit for the characters. It's all shown here. So for the last modified by, it's a lookup to user. The owner is a lookup to user and a group. And for student name, as you can remember, this ST0001, its type is auto number. So for the data types, if someone asks you, what is the data type of this field, you should be going to the object manager and you'll be clicking on fields and relationships. All right. So let's create the last name field as well. Now we are a little bit experienced. I think we can do it, right? Click on new. For the last name, it should be a text as well. Choose text here. Click on next. For the label name, let's call it last name. And after that, click on the field name for the API name. Let's give it a length of 50 as well. And let's also do this field required, shall we? Because it's still an important information. We should have this. Nobody can just write their names and have a record. Because in that very name, there could be lots of people. Even in that name and surname, there could be lots of people. So for this kind of information areas, we should always be saying it's a required field. So click on the required one and click on next. The next two steps will be next. And in the last one, let's do the save and new. Let's try the save and new, right? It was asked. Kasim asked about this one. So let's say after this one, we should be creating an age. So let's click on save and new. As you can see, my last name field is saved and I'm directly sent to here to create a new one. So is it better now, Kasim? Good. Now for the age, what data type should I use? Exactly, it should be a number. Generally, the date is used, but this is an example because nobody can write their ages, and it won't mean a thing if you like write there 27 or 29. Generally, this type of information is gathered when you enter your birth date, right? But in this case, let's say this is a simple form. So we have a number for the age. My object is car. Can I choose a date? Candan, you should be explaining it because I couldn't understand what you're asking. What does my object is car? So Candan, we should be doing our exercises on the same object. Otherwise, it will be meaningless for you. Because we will be creating some relations. I will be, maybe we will be creating a new object called teachers. So there will be relation in between the teacher and the student object. There should be a connection. Maybe we will be creating another object called lectures. So please try to do what we're doing here. For that type of practices, you can do them out of the lesson. You can create an object named car. Okay, so you should, don't you have the student object right now? And the date type field is actually very different. I should be explaining that, so you cannot choose date. Okay, so just go to your student object and do exactly what we're doing here. But after the sessions, you can practice yourself by creating different objects. You can create fields, but in the session, we are doing and we are going on the same page. So for the age, let's click on number and choose next. So for the field label, let's call it age. And let's give it a length, okay? Length means the number of digits. Let's keep it with 2. So this field can only have 2 digits. Okay. So here is a part, it says decimal places. For decimal values, we will be using here. For decimal, what do you understand? So what can we use as a decimal? No, I mean, what type of data can be a decimal in your daily life? Think of it. You're going to a store. What can be a decimal? The price can be a decimal, yes. 12.99 is a decimal, right? This 99 part is a decimal. So for these decimals, we are using here. But for age, there shouldn't be a decimal, right? So we're keeping it as 0. Nobody will say, I am 25.7 years old. It's either 28 or 27. We don't say 27.3, 27.5. In measurements as well. So In that case, we'll be using this decimal place. But at the moment, we don't need this one because this is only an age. So for the age, don't make it required. Age shouldn't be a required field. Let's click on next. And for the next pages, you can click on next and save. So we have 3 custom fields at the moment. It's not important, Gülin. It's for profiles. We don't have these profiles. We don't have any users for those profiles. So you can pass these screens by saying next. But let's say in the future, you're working as a sales administrator, you will be given a requirement saying that this field should only be seen for these profiles. Let's say the sales profile should see this, marketing profile should see this, but the human resources shouldn't be seeing this. In this case, you will be using that part. We will be seeing those in security. There's a topic called security. We will be having sessions for that one, and we will be seeing them there. So I'm telling you the first thing is, now this is the basic fundamentals. So in basic fundamentals, we shouldn't look for the further topics. So let's create another field here, as we have done in the previous session. We created, let's say this is the student. So for the student, we get his name, last name, and his age. Let's make a field for his lectures, okay? So click on new again. And this time, let's say this institution has some lectures. And we should be a specific number of lectures, let's say 5 or 6 lectures. And we will be choosing which lectures the student should attend. In this case, the type we're going to use is the pick list. Checkbox is only one checkbox, and it could be either full or empty, which means yes or no. Checkbox is working like that. Let's say I created a checkbox called active. So if the user is active, I will be clicking on that checkbox. Otherwise, I'll leave it empty. So for our case, we can choose more than 2 values. So one student can have a science lecture and an art lecture. So in this case, it will be a pick list, but a multi-select pick list. So choose the multi-select pick list here. And click on next. And let's call the field name as lectures. And then I'll be explaining these 2 values. So everyone's in here and named their fields. Okay. If you're ready, I'm proceeding from here. Now, we will be seeing about this concept, global pick list. Global pick list is something we define on the system, and it is used when it's called. Let's say we have the states of America, and under that states, we have the STIs related to each state. So user can choose, like if he chooses United States, it will be asking for the states. So let's say he chose state, then the pick list should show the cities under that state. And if we keep it in the system, we are calling it global pick list. But for this case, we are not going to be using a global pick list. And I will be showing you how to create a global pick list, how to use it. But for this case, we are in the entrance right now. We will be entering the values, and it says enter values with each value separated by a new line. So for each line, we should be writing the values. So for the lectures, you can also give me some names for the lectures. Let's say art, literature, or not, and literature, yes, and algebra, physics, okay. What else? Geometry, good. Let's say English. Any more suggestions, or we should go with music? Must. Could be under art, but okay. So this will be enough. We have 7 lectures underneath. So there is an option here. It says display values alphabetically. If it is important for your values, you can choose this one. Let's say you have here more than 40 different values, so user can easily find by alphabetically. So also for our case, let's choose display values alphabetically. So in that case, it will be first showing the algebra and the art, and then it will be showing English, geometry. It will be going alphabetically. Another checkbox says use first value as default value. So let me explain this one. Let's replace those English and art. Let's say the first one is English and the art is here. Let's say for each student in our institution should have English. It's a mandatory lesson. So we can choose this option. Use first value as a default value. So in that case, English will be defaultly selected. Okay, this is for that purpose. Also, we should keep this here. It says restrict pick list to the values defined in the value set. So if you do not check this one, the user can enter another lecture. Maybe it's not in our institution, or maybe he can just type in something else here. But with clicking on this checkbox, we're limiting every selection up to this. Okay, is it understood for this one? So we have 7 options here, right? So out of these 7 options, he cannot choose to enter anything here. So actually, it should be working like that. Also, here is one setting saying number of visible lines. So this will be shown in our, while we're entering our fields, when we are creating the record, these values will be shown, but we can limit the lines. So let's call it 3, and I will be showing you while we're entering the records. As you can see, there are 3 lines here. So let's choose it as 3. Okay, this is, I think you know where it came from. When you write the label, it's taking the lectures here. You can add values here, no problem. You can add any values. Okay, let's make it 8. Let's add Jim. So we have 8 right now. And let's also say it is required to choose for this field. So the user cannot save the record without choosing a lecture. Okay, so click on the required checkbox as well. And let's say next. From this page, again, click on next and click save. So are we all here in this page? And up to this page, do you have any questions about what we have done? We have created 4 fields, 4 custom fields. As you can see from the C's, we have 4 custom fields here. And I'll be happy to answer your questions. If you have anything in your mind, just ask right now. Now, up to this point, we created one object, we put it in a tab, and then we go to that object to create fields. Ikra, I think you missed also the introduction, I guess. Now, this is an admin session, and developer has no, doesn't have to know everything about these pages. This is all admin job. But the developer should know the functionality. So maybe he knows what the functions are doing in the background, but he doesn't have to know about these places. This is all admin work. And from admins, I cannot say they are daily creating objects. These objects are like, you have one enterprise, and in that enterprise, I mean company, and you're using Salesforce, and you should be needing some objects. Like, let's say we are an educational institution, then we should be having an object like students, right? We should be having an object like teachers. We should be having an object like an account again, because account is needed for every kind of business. So creating an object is not a daily basis job, but once setting up everything for a new company, yeah, the objects are created. Their daily jobs generally is much more different to changing the settings, like the user settings, which we will be seeing in security. There are some other functions like the automation functions. He will be doing changes on automation. But for object creation, it's not a daily basis. It's maybe will be done in the first, how can I say, when it's first introduced to the company, when it's first going to be used in the company, there should be some object creations. I hope this answers your question. Does field label come the screen orderly by alphabetically? It seems, yeah. It works as the Excel logic. So if you click on that one, it reverses that. So you can also sort them by data type. As you can see, first auto and L, okay? Admins will definitely not use Apex, just developers use coding. Yes, but admins should also have a basic knowledge of, not the basic, the main knowledge of Apex. Because you will also be seeing that we will be, since you will be admins, or this is an admin session, we will be writing codes and you will be surprised. But not that kind of complex codes. In Salesforce, there are some areas which we need to write some codes as well. We will be seeing them, like we have formulas, for example. We have validation rules. In validation rules, we should be writing some logics. So knowing Apex is an essential for an admin. If an admin knows Apex, he is one above from the others. Let's say you're in an interview and let's say you have 2 years of experience. The other candidates have like 8 years, 7 years. But on the other hand, since you're having that 2 years, you also know very deep, you have a deep knowledge of Apex. You will be a little bit a step ahead as well. You will be maybe in the same level with the experienced guys. So in interviews or in job descriptions, I saw it. Knowledge of Apex is required as well. So it will be an asset for you as an admin to know it. Yes, each and every day, like right now, you're struggling to understand. I can see it, I can understand it, because myself as well, like you, I wasn't having any clue when I was first learning Salesforce. So after 2 months, it was a little bit more clear. After 4 months, it was nearly clear. And after 6 months, I said, it's okay. But as in foreign languages, learning a foreign language, this doesn't stop as well. After 7 months, you will be knowing a little more about that. After 2 years, let's think of it. And if you work in the field, your knowledge will be much more higher. You will be learning Apex, Candan. Don't be skeptical. You will be learning it because it's not that hard. At the start, everything is hard. You cannot maybe remember your first days at school. Yeah, maybe in primary school, everything starts easily. But let's say when you're first learning about logarithm or a different thing, let's say, geometry. For geometry, maybe it's not first the advanced geometry. It's not first seem easy. But later on, once you start from learning step by step, it's easy. If you're interested, that's another part I can tell you. If you're not interested, everything is hard for you. So I encourage you to be interested in Salesforce, because the ones attended to my first session, I said, let me show it from here. It is first trend which is raising each day. Now, this is the Salesforce market share. So it's, as you can see, the other companies here, they are giants. The Oracle is a giant. The SAP is a giant. Adobe and Microsoft, you know them. You heard them. You must heard them. But what about the market share in CRM? As you can see, far more ahead of each of them. So each and every day, new companies start using Salesforce. I'm hearing companies in Turkey as well. In United States, it's, I don't want to mention, it's very widely popular. In Europe as well. And even in Turkey, some companies, the big companies, they are changing their CRM to Salesforce. So that means they will be needing professionals in that area. So again, let's wrap it up. If you are interested in learning, this will be a very good opportunity for all of you. Don't just give it up by saying this is hard, this looks like hard. No, everybody is starting in the same way. In my batch, we have friends, so they were not trusting themselves. They were always complaining about, they are having struggles about learning it. They are having struggle about learning it. And later on, I saw like nearly all of them get not only one certificate, but they have 2 certificates. Some of them got a job in the field. So trust in yourself while learning. Okay, everyone. So we have 4 fields, and let's try to create records with the fields, okay? So let's go to App Launcher and find sales there. And our object is here. First, now follow me, and then you will be creating your own records. Let's create a record from here. I'll be clicking on either new student, or I'll be clicking on students and then choose new here. These both are doing the same thing exactly. So let's create a new record here. As you can see now, we have some fields we have defined. And as you can see, there are some red asterisks here, which means these areas are required, right? And we define them as required. So I need to be writing something here. Okay, let's say he is 38 and he is getting English and physics. Because I dragged and carried it to that place, Mariana, you should check here. there is more. If you can see student there, just click on it and you can drag it to the any tab, to any place here above in the tab. Okay, now I am going to be creating my third record. I can only be helping you, Ikra, if you can share not the record page. I think you have some settings. You should be showing me this part, or just look at my settings and compare it with yours, student. It says an option must be selected. There is nothing wrong with this one, Ikra. You should be choosing one and you should be clicking on the arrow to take it to the chosen part. So it seems it's working. So click on the algebra. Let me show it here. This is your screen. You should be, once you select this one, you should be clicking here. So the algebra will be moved here. Okay. This is how they work. Okay. So I created my third record. Let's create another one. This time, let's try to do something else. I want to leave this empty, but it's saying complete this field. It's required. Okay. This time, let's try something else. In age, as you can remember, we choose 2 digits, right? For the length, 2 digits. So that means we can write anything from 1 up to 99, right? So it shouldn't be accepting 100 as an age. Let me choose one. Lecture as well. Let me try to say this. And this is the type of error messaging in Salesforce. It says we hit a snag. That means there is a problem. And generally it leads you to the problem. Review the following fields and it says age. Okay, so it says this value is not accepted. So therefore, we can only write 2-digit numbers. But on the other hand, I can write negative values here, which I shouldn't be able to do. And we will be doing this kind of controls by a function called validation rules, in which we will be learning in the next weeks, next 1 or 2 weeks. So let's give it an age and let's save it. Yeah. For 00, it will be accepting, but it shouldn't be in real cases. So these type of things we will be, let's say, let me create a new one. Because I want to show you something more. Let's, for the first name. So do you think will it accept this one? If I say save, Ikra says no. So do you recall the field data type here? What did we choose for these two? For the first name and last name, what did we choose for the data type? Text. So we have written symbols here. And for the second one, let's make it a number. Do you think we could be able to save this? Nihan says no. Ikra already said no. Ikra still insists on no. Merve says no. I'm looking for the yes. Nihan says yes, I think. Nihan, yes or no? Mariana says yes. John says yes. Nihan is thinking out loud, but sometimes number can be string. My friends, actually it will accept, but it shouldn't be. But since we choose text there, these are also text. But as I said, we will be seeing that control in our next sessions. There is one thing called validation rule. In validation rule, we can say that you cannot use symbols in first name. You cannot use numbers in last name. But at the moment, we don't have a validation rule right now. We only just said this will be a text. And as you will see, with no problem, with ease, it's accepted. So for those, as I said, there is another type of control, and we will be seeing them in future. So I don't want to mention them anymore. But if you try to do this with a bank account, let's say you're opening a new account through internet, it will not be accepting these. And likewise, in Salesforce, as an admin, you should know how to restrict these kind of things with the validation rules. But at the moment, we're learning how to create fields. So it's not our subject right now. But as you can see, it will be accepting. So let's see. We have 5 records there. But in reality, you should not let it save. Yes, exactly. And we will be doing that one. And we will be doing that one. We will be writing code, actually. That's what I mean. When I said, as an admin, we should be writing codes. And for this purpose, we will be writing some codes. And the codes will be simple. Like the fields cannot have these symbols. Okay, we will be seeing when we came to that subject. Right now, we have 4 records, but these 4 records are only shown with their record name, right? It is called the student name, but this is the record name. So let's change the view. Let's learn how to change the view. In this page, click on all. Okay, everyone. So after that, come here to the gear, not the one on top, but the one in the students page. Click on that one, and there's an option saying select fields to display. Click on this one. And right now, we can choose which fields to be displayed on this page. This is called a list view. So in the list view, we are deciding which fields should be seen. First name should be seen here. Last name should be seen here. And let's say age should be seen here. The lectures also should be seen here. Also, let's show who created this record. It is owner alias. You can choose different fields as well. You are not limited to do this. But once you finish this one, click on save. And as you can see, right now we have a better view, right? It is showing the name, last name, the age, the lectures is getting, and who created the record. Can everybody see that page in that format? Very good. Yeah, you can choose, Kasım, no problem. It's all up to you. It's all up to the user. So, guys, today we learned how to create an object, right? How to put it in a tab. I think we haven't gone through that very deeply. So let me show it again and I'll be finishing the session. Let's go to setup. As you can remember, that was the last option at the object manager, which is saying, which was basically saying, take me to the custom tabs wizard, right? Let's say if we didn't check this checkbox, so our object is not in a tab. So where can we put it in a tab? In the quick find, we will be writing tab and choosing tabs. As you can see, my custom object is in a tab. But if yours is not in a tab, it will be like this. It will be empty. So from this point, also you can add it to a tab by saying new. And your object will appear here, student. And you will be clicking on next. Sorry, I didn't choose any style. Okay, I chose the tab style. Click on next, next, and save. Again, I put it in a tab. But I think my object is moved because I removed it from the tab. As you can see, I put my object just here, right? But since I removed it from the tab and put it again, it's not here right now. So it's again moved to here. Because I removed this tab. When I removed the tab, it was gone from here, not even from me. It wasn't here as well. So later on, when I put it into tab, it's here right now. Yes, you can change it, Nihan. Let's say you're not using the dashboard, put it here, or let's say you're using the calendar frequently, so you can take it and leave it here. Tab style, yes, you can change it from the tabs. Not from here. You can change it from the tabs. When you come to tabs, I chose bank as a, let's say, edit. And this is actually not important. But as I said, it should be at least relevant to the object name. So for the student, I think this is the best, either the book or the pencil. Candan, you can delete it through Object Manager. Just come to the Object Manager. You don't have to delete it. You don't have to delete that one also. You can keep it, no problem. But in the lessons, you should use the one that we're doing. Okay, so in the Object Manager, just type in your, or find your object here, but, okay. Find your object here. Let's, in your case, it's car, right? You should be seeing this at the right. Just say delete, okay? So, okay, everyone, I think there's another question from the other channel. And Sato says price long before. Yes, correct, Sato. I think I asked for the decimal and I think this is your response, so it was correct. So any questions, my friends? We are about to finish our session. Kazım, there is also another channel called Trial Users. So they are attending the classes as well as trial users. Okay, everyone. Did you learn new things today? How was it? Or are you complaining that there's new information to absorb? Okay. For me as well. Thank you, John. Thank you all. Thank you, İlknur, Merve, Kasım. Yeah, it will be better for all of you. Thank you, Jana. In Sunday's session, we will be creating an app. Okay, so we will create an app and we will move our student object to our application. Also, we will create another object and we will be creating new fields because we haven't seen date time. We haven't seen the global pick list values, how they are prepared, how they are set. So we will all be seeing those on Sunday. So have a nice weekend as well. Rest well, and I'll see you on Sunday. Okay. Thank you, guys. Bye. Thank you.